I want the precious. Excuse me. Wrong MacGuffin. But not really. Amazon recently gave us our first look at the cool and creepy ruby-hilted dagger from the Wheel of Time series. What's creepy and what's cool about the dagger? Where did RJ get the idea? We'll talk about that and more in this video. Come take a ride with me. Hello, my lovelies. Welcome to another episode of the WOT Community Show. It is I, Tom. Now, we have a lot of new friends venturing into the Wheel of Time community nowadays. So, for those of you who are new, quick recap. Sony and Amazon are producing a big budget show on some books by Robert Jordan and Brandon Sanderson, The Wheel of Time. Now, the first season is pretty much done filming, but we're still waiting on them deets for the release date. It's going to be streaming on Amazon Prime. The full details for the cast and photos of the show can be found on dragonmount.com/TV. Now, for our new friends that might not necessarily have read the books, I want to caution you, we have spoilers for the series in our episodes. Whenever that happens, our editor and fantastic unicorn Kathy will include a spoiler tag, like that. And finally, for all you new lovely fans that are just discovering the Wheel of Time for the very first time, maybe just starting to, or maybe not having read the books at all, I want to say welcome to all of you. We love seeing our community grow. If anyone gives you gruff for, being new to the community or any nonsense about only coming to it now because the show is being made or whatever, trying to, devalue you as a fan for some reason, just ignore all of those toxic willheads. I think I can say for all of us creators on here and for most of the people in our community, welcome. We're really happy that you decided to go on this journey with us through Robert Jordan's worlds, whatever form that may take. All right, let's start off with the news. Book 1 spoilers ahead. On February 17th, WOT Wednesday, Amazon Prime's social media revealed a new video showcasing the very well-known ruby-hilted dagger from the Wheel of Time series.
Alright, let's make a deal.
A deal? Wait, a deal? With who? Why? What? So now that dagger becomes fairly important throughout the series. Pretty huge in book 2. It has some corrupting qualities and messes around with Matt's head a bit. But in Eye of the World, it causes some internal party turmoil, as well as giving the Emmonsfielders a reason to need the Aes Sedai's help to heal Matt from the corruption. Moiraine, the Aes Sedai, later tries, but in so many words, she says it's out of her wheelhouse and that he's going to need to go to the White Tower to be completely cleansed of the corruption, which becomes the driving force to keep the characters tied to the Aes Sedai and keep moving forward. Or maybe not the driving force, but a driving force. Now, the video itself is very cool, but there are some changes to the books to unpack here. So, right off, this scene is very different from the books. Mainly the noticeable lack of waist-high mounds of gems, gold coins, jewelry, goblets, plates, and platters, as well as gilded, gem-encrusted swords and daggers, all heaped carelessly together. Very Aladdin-esque. Now, that was a paraphrase from the book. Instead, Rafe seems to have chosen to single out the dagger. Instead of making it just another dagger in the pile of thousands, he's making this more significant to the viewer, which begs the question, what is this deal that Matt is making? Now, in the books, to help, Mordeth asks for help to carry as much gold and treasure as he can to his horses, which are conveniently left outside the city. None of these boys find that odd, by the way, because they're geniuses, apparently. But anyway, treasure, yay! Now, to head off some of the naysayers real quick, yes, most fan art and the chapter icon of the book itself show the ruby in the pommel of the dagger. Though, as I said millions of times before, and I probably will say millions of times again, if you just want the books, read the books. They're right there. The show is based off of those books. And as Rafe said, It's a different turning of the wheel. Now, personally for me, if this was a shot-for-shot retelling of the books, I'd be kind of disappointed. I'm not saying people can't have their own opinions or anything, but that doesn't make this prop wrong or bad in some way. It's just that one may personally not like it. This one does. Anywho, what the heck is a pommel? So, being the amazingly talented digital artist that I am, I made this handy graphic for you. Anyway, a hilt is actually made up of multiple parts. It's not limited just to the parts in this picture, but for the purposes, we'll stick with that, because that's the dagger that we're talking about. Now, we have first the guard, which is just below the blade. Now, the guard protects your hand. Then, just below that, we have the haft, or shaft. That's the part that you hold. And then at the very bottom is the pommel. Now, the pommel of the hilt is generally made specifically weighted for the purposes of balancing the weapon. So now if you add all of those parts together, you get the hilt. So technically, since the text only refers to it as a ruby hilted dagger, it's still book-ishly accurate, if you care about that sort of thing. Now, in my opinion, one of the reasons for the gem being on the guard instead of the pommel for the show is for the viewer. Now, as a viewer, if you're looking at Matt and he has this dagger in his hand, if the ruby was in the pommel and for all other intents and purposes, the top half of the dagger wasn't really ornate in any way, you wouldn't know that it was the ruby hilted dagger. They want you to really be able to see that. So when Matt takes out his dagger, you'll see that ruby in the hilt probably every single time he takes out that dagger. You'll see it. It'll probably glow or gleam or glint or catch the eye. You'll see it now. If it was in the pommel, like if he's holding it, my dagger, like this, you might not actually see the ruby. It could be covered by his hand, or if he's holding it, like that, it could be on the back end, so you won't see it. But if it's on the guard, you'll see it. Like you see Belle. She's so pretty. Anyway, what else we got from the tasty morsel that Amazon dropped on the floor for us was a snippet from one of the actual scripts as well. Now, the scene being described here is probably the interior of that super ominous building that we saw from the trailer. That building? Located in probably what is the nightmare-fueled city of Shadar-Logoth. And we also get that snippet of Barney Harris's voice as Matt Coffin at the end right there, where he says, "All right, let's make a deal." Now go ahead, here's the picture again, try to pause and read more of it. But what I can make out from it was, we move toward it, blowing dust away. The frame is rusted and decayed, and cracks away as he opens the case. And inside, he sees something protected from the ravages of time. A ruby-encrusted dagger. It must be worth more than anything he's seen before. He picks it up, looks at it, and probably says his line. Anyway, so who is our young hero, Matt, making a deal with? Well, at the same time committing that classic level 1 adventurer mistake. Let's go explore the dangerous city, even though the more experienced leader of our group said not to. Ooh, treasure! Sure, mister, I'll help you carry all this outside the city's walls. Aw, shucks, what do you mean I'm cursed now? Feet stomp, arms crossed under breath. Harumph, harumph. Anyway, he's probably making a deal with Mordith. I mentioned that name earlier. Who is Mordith? He's more of an it at this point. He is the ethereal fog that now saturates Shadar-Logoth. That fog was made manifest by the greed, loathing, and nationalistic tendencies of the residents of the once great city of Aridhall. It now saturates what we know today as Shadar-Logoth, or Shadows Waiting in the common tongue. Now you could check out the links below to some great resources on where to learn about these book topics and more. It goes to tarvalon.net's library. It's a great website. It's a community-based forum. You could be an Aes Sedai, a warder, just a citizen. They're a lot of fun. You should go check them out. Now, back in the mid to late 80s when Robert Jordan was writing this first book, he didn't really have the entirety of the world, the magic system fully fleshed out, which is why we really never see anything kind of like Mordith again. He's very unique in the sense of, he isn't, most of the other supernatural evil things are of the shadow, where Mordith is not of the shadow. It's a completely separate entity. So also, like most fantasy writers, he leaned heavily on Lord of the Rings, hence the precious mentions earlier. The dagger is definitely a parallel to the One Ring, with Padan Fain obviously being a parallel to Golem. Now, he was a normal being, taken and twisted by the big bad to gain the location of the main character. After being freed from the big bad's grasp, he relentlessly stalks them. Yes, in this analogy, Rand is Frodo. Rando? Frand? Whatever. Anyway, I can't wait to see how Barney twists Matt's nature to show the corruption of the dagger, or how, the effects teams are going to depict it on camera. I can't wait for this show. I'm so excited. Personally, about this trailer specifically, I loved everything that I saw. The cinematography looks great. The set design looks on point. The little bit of Barney's costume that we could see, the sleeve where it's torn and stuff, it looks like it's well made and worn. So I'm drooling over here. I'm drooling. Anyway, let me know what you folks think down in the comments. What other parallels do you see to Lord of the Rings from the first book? Let's try to keep it spoiler free. And as always, mask up, be safe, peace.
And that's our show. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, remember to subscribe, like this video, and hit the thumbs up. Also, please leave us a comment. We love positive comments. Also, do you have any friends that are interested in the Wheel of Time? I mean, you probably do. Let them know about us. We would love to share information with more people. More Wheel of Time, the more better. Also, we would love to thank our amazing Patreon community and our sponsor, Tor Books. Thank you so much for the support. We couldn't do any of this without you. Also, follow us on Dragonmount. And as always, my name is Kitty. This is the Wheel of Time Community Show. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.